Hey everybody, welcome to Slash Bash, where today I am bringing you another Choosing Beggar Reddit video. If you are new to the channel, then subscribe and click on notifications so you don't miss out on the fun. In our first story, a choosing beggar drinks and gambles, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't give him money. Let's jump right in. So this happened to me a few years ago when I was living in the Southwest. I was working as an elementary school teacher, and on the way home sometimes I would pick up some snacks at the local convenience store. After a few years of working next door to this place, I got to know the staff pretty well and even became friends with a few of them. One day I was walking into the store and I saw a gentleman, choosing beggar, sitting on the curb in front of it with a stack of scratch-off lottery tickets in his hand and a few 40s of beer next to him. I thought nothing of it and went inside the store. I spent about 15 minutes in there, picking out a few treats and chatting with the employees I was friends with. As I was leaving, the choosing beggar I saw before came up to me and asked if I could do him a favor. I had a feeling he was going to ask me for money, and I was not disappointed. He said his family desperately needed money for groceries as he was out of work. I looked to where he was sitting and saw no less than $40 worth of scratcher tickets and 4 large empty cans of beer. Thinking that he would just throw the money away or he was scamming me, I said that if Choosing Beggar liked, I would go inside the convenience store and buy some groceries for his family. He became irate. He started yelling at me that he really needed the money for his family and that I should just give him cash so he can pick out what they needed. I told him I wouldn't do that, but if he wanted, he could give me a list and I would go back into the store and buy some of the items and gladly deliver them to his family's home so he wouldn't even have to carry them. He then told me that he would need about $20 in groceries, bread, eggs, milk, etc. Then he'd like another $20 spent on scratcher tickets, he named the specific ones, and 2 cans of beer. I told him heck no, I would not buy him beer and lottery tickets and started to walk towards my truck. He then began to follow me and scream as loud as he could how his family would starve to death and it would all be my fault. I turned to him and said that if he had a family, they were going to starve to death because he pissed their money away on scratchers and booze. Choosing Beggar then had the audacity to tell me that by not buying him scratcher tickets, I was depriving him of a way to make money for his family, and that the beer was for medicinal purposes. That by depriving Choosing Beggar of that, I was also preventing him from achieving his right to the pursuit of happiness. At this point, I just started to point at him and laugh. This just made Choosing Beggar madder. I tell him that if his family was really starving, to give me their address and I would personally deliver food to them. I told him I'd buy $80 worth of food for them, but I would not give him 1 nickel. He then started yelling and shouting at me once more. I was starting to feel both angry and uncomfortable. Thankfully, at that point, a police car pulled up. My friend inside the store had decided to call the cops while he watched this whole scene unfold, and the guy was arrested for drunk and disorderly. As the cops put him in the back of the car, I told him that if he wanted to give me his family's address, I would go and take care of them while he's in prison. This made him madder than before. Oddly enough, I did see Choosing Beggar once more after this encounter. About 5 months later, it was back to school night and my new students were coming to the classroom to meet me for the first time. And wouldn't you know it, there was Choosing Beggar with his wife and son. I, being a professional, greeted them warmly. It obviously took him a minute to recognize me, but once he did, the look on his face was priceless. He had that deer in the headlights look. He must have told his wife later that I was the one from the convenience store because she came over and apologized to me for what happened with her husband. She promised me that I would never hear from him or be bothered by him again and asked me not to hold it against her kid. I assured her I don't hold kids responsible for the actions of their parents and that he would be treated like all the other kids. I never saw Choosing Beggar at any school events after that day. Story 2 shows us a Choosing Beggar woman who thinks that she is entitled to have ROP buy her groceries for her. First, a bit of context. I live in Italy and this story happened during the 2nd week of lockdown. I had never talked with all the people that live in my building before lockdown, but I knew some of them were quite old. Having said this, let's start with the story. After the first week of lockdown, I was too bored to stay home, so I decided to go buy groceries for the old people in my building as they were more at risk than me. I didn't want to be paid or anything, I just wanted to go out a bit. They would give me a list of things to buy, I would tell them how much everything cost, so they would leave the money outside their door and I would leave their groceries, so there was no contact. I took every measure possible to stay safe, and I even went to supermarkets that were very far away so that I would be the only one buying groceries. About 2 or 3 days after this thing had started, this woman knocks on my door. My mom wasn't home, so I spoke to her without opening the door. The conversation went like this. "Hi, can I come in?" "Hi, we could speak through the door." "Oh, okay. I noticed you are buying groceries for everyone in the building but me." "Yeah, I'm helping the 2 families on the floor above because they are old." "Well, could you buy groceries for me too?" I was thinking of this as just another opportunity to go out. "Of course, just tell me what you need." She tells me what she wants. That same evening, I went to the supermarket and bought everything she'd asked for, and then I sent her a message telling her the cost, around €100. She saw the message but didn't answer. I called her while coming back so I could find the money outside her door to avoid any contact. She didn't answer. I eventually arrived at home and knocked on her door, and she told me, "Leave the groceries outside, I'll take them once you are gone." And I said, "First, pay me." She started yelling things like, "The old person upstairs told me you didn't want to be paid," and started demanding that I left her groceries outside the door. I just left and went back home. While going down the stairs, she threatened to call the police and tell them I stole her groceries. I continued home, she didn't call the police, and I ended up keeping everything. Since then, she has started to completely avoid me, but that certainly doesn't bother me. In story 3, we have a choosing beggar who's blowing up her friend's phone for some more slave labor. "When are you wanting to help clean?" "Wake up! I'm pissed as flip right now. You said you were gonna help." Okay, let's get a few things straightened out. I didn't sleep the day before. I spent my time from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. helping you move everything. I didn't go to sleep until about 5 this morning, so God forbid I've been sleeping. Let me sleep. I need it. I'm trying to finish school, which I'm still a little behind on. I chose to spend my Friday helping you move everything, which I was blindsided. One day? How is that even possible? I think there's more to that story. Stressing out on fitting everything into cars, using my gas to go back and forth, stressing my body, which is in terrible health by the way, to move your stuff. I said I'd help today, but for flip's sake, it's not going to be at 10 a.m., especially if you know that I haven't slept. But at this point, I have done all of this just to wake up to you spamming my phone and you telling me that you're mad? Are you serious? I'm willing to do a lot for you, and I have, but I've done all of this stuff without a thank you from you or Mom, and then waking up to that? I'm kind of over it, to be honest. In our final story, a choosing beggar couple are angry because they are expected to pay for their drinks. A few years ago, I picked up a job as a server at a casual restaurant. Think sports pub, but family-friendly before evening hours, to make some extra cash. I was scheduled to work on New Year's Day, which somewhat sucked, but I was making time and a half, and we didn't expect it to be busy, so whatever. A lady and her boyfriend walked in. The hostess seats them, and I walk over to take their order. Boyfriend doesn't do too much talking, but the choosing beggar lady orders chicken strips and fries and 2 iced teas. I turn to the boyfriend to take his order, and lady cuts me off, saying they would be splitting the chicken strip meal between the 2 of them. Mind you, this was just a regular chicken strip meal, not a platter or shared appetizer or anything large, but whatever, fine. After I brought out their meal and drinks, annoying lady is waving me over to the table and she looks unimpressed to say the least. I asked what I could do for her, and she is pissed and immediately goes on a rant about the portion size, saying that the chicken strip meal is way too small for 2 people. Well, no stuff. It's a 1-person meal. Anyways, she says they want to send it back to the kitchen, which I do without a problem. People have sent food back for more ridiculous reasons, and technically, I did not clarify that the meal was a 1-person meal when she placed her order. Although I don't know, this is usually obvious, but it was New Year's Day and I was not in the mood to argue. I asked if they wanted to order anything else, she says no and goes off to take a phone call. In the meantime, boyfriend pays $2 for the iced teas, which they drank, and they leave. About 10 minutes later, as I'm right in the middle of taking the orders of a nice family with small kids, rude lady comes barging back into the restaurant screaming at me, dropping every cuss word I think I've ever heard in the span of about a minute and a half. Her problem? How dare you charge my boyfriend for those iced teas? That's right, she came back to seek vengeance for the $2 iced teas her boyfriend paid for. The $2 iced teas which they drank. I calmly pointed this out to her, that they drank them, and this set her off even more. Think full on, I'm not leaving here without my $2, call your supervisor, rampage. Honestly, I could have refunded her, but the way she was speaking to me and cursing in front of the other people's kids, I refused. I tried to walk away after telling her that unless she calmed down, I wouldn't be speaking with her, and she literally followed me, screaming and swearing every step of the way. Unfortunately, after getting my manager, he did choose to refund her the $2. I think he just wanted her out of the restaurant, and I didn't blame him, but it still rubbed me the wrong way. This happened almost 6 years ago. I no longer work for this restaurant, but every time I drive by, I always remember the screaming chicken finger lady. This has been John from Slash Bash. Thanks for watching! If you've enjoyed the video and want to see more of them, then please hit that subscribe button. We'd love for you to drop a like, share it with your friends, and we will see you in the next one.